Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam Malaysia Madani and salam UiTM di hatiku. My name is Muhammad Ikmal Fazlan bin Rosli, and this research cannot be completed without the help of my researchers that are Associate Professor Theologist Dr. K. Dora Abdul Ghani, Dr. Johaizat Ahmad, and Dr. Abdul Samad Abdul Rahman. We are all from School of Civil Engineering, University Teluk Jemara, Cawangan, Pulau Pinang. Inshallah today, I'll be sharing about the findings of our studies that entitled A New Horizon, Creative Approach to Grasp Attention of Non-Engineering Students to Learn Engineering Subject. These are my presentation outline. I'll be starting about introduction, followed by student backgrounds, and then methodology, results and discussions, and lastly, conclusion. UiTM Cawangan Pulau Pinang is located at the northern part of Malaysia. We have been established since 1996. For now, we have about 5,000 students and 1,000 staff in this institution. In UiTM Cawangan Pulau Pinang, we are home to 5 faculties that are School of Civil Engineering, School of Mechanical Engineering, School of Electrical Engineering, School of Chemical Engineering, and lastly, Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management. Now, why this research is being conducted? It's because the first thing is to determine the level of understanding of non-engineering students taking an engineering subject. Number 2, to analyze the data obtained for improving a future cross-faculty subjects that being taught by an engineering lecturer. The significance of study is that to improve the teaching techniques of the lecturer to teach a non-major students that are taking engineering subject. For example, this subject, whereas the hotel students, non-engineering students, are taking this engineering materials subject. This study is in line with the vision of Malaysia's 10th Prime Minister of inculturing the concept of Malaysia Madani. According to the statement, there are 6 cores encompassed in the Malaysia Madani concept. This research is perfectly in line with 2 core values, namely sustainability and innovation. It is because the students will learn about the sustainable of the materials and new things and innovations that they can meet from the materials. For our bigger goals, this research is in line with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, especially in SDG number 4, that is quality education, and SDG number 9, that is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. These were the students' background of engineering and non-engineering students that took this engineering subject. As you can see, the engineering students has to pass and obtain a much more subject compared to a non-engineering students in order to enroll in engineering course. The students will have approximately the same number of years of duration of study of 3 to 4 years. In order to strengthen and give advantage to UiTM students, the students can take an elective subject that were not into their main core of study. For example, this case, the non-engineering students can take engineering subject. This is to develop soft skills and enhance their knowledge. For this subject, the students all were in degree program. Usually, this elective subject will be offered during the semester 4 or semester 5 of the students. Now, let's talk about methodology. The subject that are being offered to the non-engineering students were civil engineering materials. In this subject, 20% is calculation and another 80% is theory. This subject deals on the construction materials. For the assessment, the students will have to take a test comprised of 30%, and assignment 10%, and lastly, final examination of 60%. For the program outcomes, the students will be judged on their PO1, that are fundamental engineering, and PO3, environmental and sustainability issues. For your information, these subjects are being governed and being controlled by the Engineering Accreditation Council of Malaysia. That means all these exam questions, the assignments, will have to undergo a strict examination by the panels. There is no exception for the non-engineering students. Now, these are some topics that were covered in engineering materials. The first one is, what is a structure? Number 2, what is the materials for making a concrete? Number 3, what is the right proportion of mixing a concrete? And for a normal engineering student, the lecturer will easily talk about type of structure. We have a truss, a beam, a frame, and whatsoever. And about the materials of making a concrete, we will easily tell them about we have to use a cement, aggregate, water, and some admixture. And the last one, the right proportion. We have to use some calculation, or we call it as a concrete mix design. The engineering students will easily understand what the lecturer are talking about. Well, this is the common gesture that we will get when we talk about that to the non-engineering students. The students will start questioning why they have to take this subject, right? And then what happened in class after that? The students were unfocused. They will start to talk with each other, playing with phones, and they are defensive. So they will start throwing a question of, as I mentioned earlier, why we have to take this subject, and others. Thus, we, the engineering lecturer, have to make the subject more suited to their traits. So for this case, their trait is to be a renowned chef, inshallah. So we have to make some changes so that this subject will be more interesting to them. So we improvise. The first kind of question, what is a structure. Remember that the diagram that I have shown you earlier about the truss, we have to change it to a cake. So we told them, so this is a structure of a cake. Right? So this structure of the cake have to have a good base, and then the loading is from the top to the bottom. Is the same for the civil engineering structure. Then their eyes will be more focused. Question number 2. What is the materials for making a concrete? We have to improvise. That is just the same as you are baking a cake. Then we have to use a flour, a water, and some raisins. Then they appreciate, to make a concrete, the materials or the ingredients is just like our cooking. And last question, what is the right proportion of mixing a concrete? Then we will show them about the recipe, because in order for them to cook a decent or a good dishes, they have to base a recipe. For example, maybe 1 cup of tea, 1 cup of flour, and then 2 cup of yolk. It's the same, but we have to change that recipe to a concrete recipe. Then, and only then, the student will start to appreciate and start to understand on what this subject is all about, because now they understand that it's just the same like what they are doing in cooking class, but this time it's about the civil engineering materials. These were the demographic of the samples. For engineering students, we have about 73 students, and for non-engineering students, we have about 29 students. And these are the assessment of the subject. Now, for results and discussion. As you can see in this diagram, the result is only a little difference. The purple graph is for the non-engineering students, whereas the green graph is for the engineering students. As you can see, the performance of the students is almost at 5% difference. Of course, the engineering students excel than the non-engineering students. Now, for the results and discussion. As you can see, 90% of the students, engineering students, getting an A, compared to non-engineering, there is 14%. For B, grade B, 80% of the students of engineering, whereas 65% students from the non-engineering. For C, grade C, none from the civil engineering, but 21% from the non-engineering students. So it shows that the non-engineering students can do well in this subject. And most importantly, there are no failure, especially for the non-engineering students. Now, for the conclusion, the exclusiveness is almost over. There are no boundaries. It's been shown that non-engineering students can excel in engineering subject. Improvement. This is the most important thing in this study. It shows that the engineering lecturer have to make improvement in their teaching and learning method. Is to take or to grasp the attention of the non-engineering students. Engagement. The lecturer have to make an active engagement with the students, especially non-engineering students, and exercise, a lot of exercise have to be done together with the non-engineering students. So this is my last slide. Thank you. And if you have any questions, you can direct it to my email. And if you would like to do a research collaboration, please feel free to drop me an email. So with that, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you to all.